Okay, so here we go, 8-7. Number 1 is D. So one thing we should know right away, the major region of the brain responsible for conscious thought processes, sensations, intellectual functions, memory, complex motor patterns is the cerebrum. This is going to be the largest part of the brain. We can see very easily right away when we start our dissection. Number 2 is going to be B, cerebellum. Cerebellum has to do with voluntary and involuntary motor activities, movement and balance. Number 3, brainstem is A, the midbrain, the pons, the medulla. Number 4 is B, the largest portion of the diencephalon, the thalamus. So the thalamus is going to be a major relay point for all the sensory information coming up to the brain. Comes to the thalamus, and then we send it out where it needs to go. Can I erase those? Number 5 is going to be D, emotions, autonomic function. Remember, autonomic functions are like automatic things that we don't think a lot about. We'll also see a lot of those functions with the medulla. Number 6 is going to be B. The pituitary gland is the main link between the nervous and endocrine systems. Number 7 is A. Major centers concerned with autonomic control of breathing, blood pressure, heart rate, and digestive activities, the medulla. Number 8 is D. The cerebellum does all of those things. Postural muscles to keep us upright, how we're standing or sitting. All right, can I erase those? All right. Number 9 is C. Number 10 is B. Cool. All right, so labeling this view of the brain, like I told you guys, it's hard to see these on your copies because they're dark, but at least you'll have this video to look back at now. So I'm just going to kind of write in the answers and then compare them with the picture. So check your answers. Okay, so when we look at the brain exterior examination, we should know right away that all of this, the majority of what we see right here, is the cerebrum. Okay, so with the cerebrum, one of the things you're going to have to be able to do is label the different lobes, which is pretty easy. I think they're all on here. So we should know definitely the frontal lobe and the temporal lobe on the side there. So we've got frontal lobe, makes sense up here in front. Temporal here on the side. Also on the side, but nearer the top, is the parietal lobe. And then we have in back the occipital. Okay, we see a lot of things like precentral gyrus and postcentral gyrus. Gyrus just means a raised portion. So on the cerebrum, we have these raised portions sticking out. And then we have these little grooves in between. And the grooves in between are called sulci, plural, or a sulcus, singular. So I'm not going to have you label all the different ones, but you should definitely know the difference between a gyrus and a sulcus. So we've got the pons, number 5. That's pretty important to be able to identify that. It's kind of like you'll see a little bulge here on the front when you look at the brainstem. Definitely the cerebellum as well. So the cerebellum is this piece here, sticking out the back. And the medulla, which is going to be below the pons. Okay. So can I erase all that? Okay, so in this diagram, just to be quicker, maybe to get through so we can move on to actual dissection today. I'll just put all the answers. So 1 is postcentral gyrus. 2 is central sulcus. 3 is precentral gyrus. And then 4, I'm going to put a star next to that. So 4 is going to be the corpus callosum. So that's actually, so this is when you do your mid-sagittal cut with the brain. This is the view you'll get looking at each hemisphere from the inside. And that corpus callosum is the main bridge between the two hemispheres. Number 5 is just pointing at the frontal lobe of the cerebrum again. And number 6, I'm going to go ahead and mark that. That's the optic chiasm, where our visual information can actually cross over to the two sides of the brain. so the two sides of the brain can actually work together in terms of vision. Number 7 is mammillary body. Number 8 is the temporal lobe. And number 9 is the midbrain. We're going to see some parts during dissection, these things called colliculi or tectum, which are actually parts of the midbrain, but I'm not going to mark that on there. 10, I already told you to mark this on the last one, but that's the pons when you cut it. And number 11, I'll mark that too, the medulla oblongata. 12, collectively, we call those the brainstem, which we should know those are the brainstem. 13 is the thalamus. 14 is going to be an area below the thalamus called the hypothalamus. 15 is the pineal body or pineal gland, which is important for our day-night cycle and sleeping, secreting stuff called melatonin, I'm sure you guys have heard of. 16 is diencephalon. 17 is parieto-occipital sulcus. I'll write it up here. It's basically saying a groove between the parietal lobe and the occipital lobe of the cerebrum. And 18 is going to be the cerebellum. Of course, again, we should know that one. All right. So that is section 8.7.